All right, and we're back. Welcome to the Don't Be Smart, Alec podcast. Today, we're going to go ahead and be talking about the worst fictional universes to live in. So basically, any fictional universe, book, movie, TV show, video game, whatever, just as long as it would be absolutely terrible to live in. So how we're going to go ahead and do this, we're going to present our argument each. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and decide which one has the best. You obviously can't vote for your own pick. We realized that in the first episode. So we're going to go ahead and have to vote for the other ones. And before we start this off, I do just want to go ahead and give a quick shout out from our sponsors, Grifters Cola. Do you ever want to bleed from the eyes? Go ahead and drink Grifters Cola. I don't know why we're still partnered with them, but okay, that was regrettable.
I like that flavor. The bleed from the eyes flavor.
It's the new cherry flavor.
Yeah, I forgot. Thank you. It's got a good aftertaste just before the blood.
It really sticks with you.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I thought it was tiger's blood.
No, that's the cologne.
That's Charlie Sheen's cola brand.
Yeah. Oh.
So I'm gonna go ahead and start us off.
Mm-hmm.
And I am going to start us off with the worst fictional universe, in my opinion, Star Wars. 100% it's Star Wars. The reasoning why. You are most likely not going to be born as somebody who becomes a Jedi or a Sith or a Mandalorian. And more often than not, you're probably going to be born as just one of the poverty-stricken poor people who live on, like, the underbelly of Coruscant, who's, like, addicted to death sticks and, like, just has a terrible life. Like, everywhere you go, the whole entire universe is just filled with poverty, right? Like Tatooine. Luke's family all lived in a pit. Like, it was a giant hole. There was a house built into the hole, like, into the side, like, walls of that hole, but they were in a hole.
It was a kind of nice hole, though.
Yeah,
I mean, sure. It like had some nice '70s furniture.
I don't have blue milk.
Yeah, right. My milk's not blue.
But
dude,
once
they had
again,
a floating speeder.
Yeah,
that's right. They had some expensive things.
But like, let's be honest,
bro,
right?
They had satellite towers. Did you see them? They're like radio towers that used to.
I want to address the floating speeder.
I want to like. We should just launch right into this because I don't even want to hear any more of this because I've always thought about Star Wars that like. What is the economy of Star Wars like? What the
clearly it's terrible because everybody is poor.
Yeah, what is all these people doing? What is their daily job?
You're bringing up like, oh, they had a floating speeder, but like in a world of floating speeders, this is like the El Camino of floating speeders.
Yeah,
like,
maybe.
It's not
I don't know.
Great.
It looked pretty dope, but I'm thinking like, what does everyone do?
Apparently not.
They have droids, right?
So
that means that droids did all the heavy lifting. Like, was it just like I don't know? And then the Mandalorian, or no, Andor even kind of makes it even muddier because they're using like prisoners as labor to like maybe build the Death Star.
Is it prisoners or is it slaves? Because slavery is also a thing that's pretty rampant in the Star Wars universe. If you don't remember that,
they were prisoners that like bled into slavery. So like
slaves. So they were just slaves.
No, but they did break the law at least somewhat at first, and then wrongfully not wrongfully, but like given huge sentences, and then those sentences they found out. You never leave.
Okay, so I just want to go ahead and clarify what everyone does in the Star Wars universe, right? It's either bounty hunting, slavery, being a slave, or just waiting to die in a hole on Tatooine.
Aren't there like bartenders and stuff?
Yeah, no, that brings me up to a good point, Lefty. I appreciate you bringing that up because there is a scene where we do see the occupation of bartenders at the one place in Tatooine where somebody gets their arm cut off and like no one reacts. That's how common that happens. Where it's just like, okay, Billy just got his arm cut off. Like that's a Tuesday. It's fine. Like, nothing to bat an eye about. Hey, guys, keep on playing that song. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like, it's so commonplace.
What?
And you never really get to see Spock's dick, you know?
Okay, that's Star Trek, and I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing, and it's not appreciated. Don't you dare bring your Star Trek stuff into my Star Wars land.
I
No,
have
but,
nothing to speak
how
on about Star
dare
Trek.
you?
As a serious response though, if you grew up in a world where rebel like where chaos is normal, right? Like think of like the kids in Shameless. Those kids are pretty well versed in that crazy world, and it doesn't really shock them.
Oh,
right?
don't get me started on Shameless.
So-
It's one of my the worst TV shows in the history of TV.
We don't even need to get started on that. It's just the basis of if
We're
you
gonna
grow
come
up
back
in
to that in a
a
minute.
ghetto environment. Yeah, which I don't agree with you, by the way.
My wife gets so mad at me.
I think you
'Cause
should just shut up, you hater.
Yeah, I don't know. I just
The
think
acting,
it's so
the
over the top.
emotions are a little
I mean,
over the
maybe
top.
people live like that. I don't know.
Well, but
That
that's
was like
what
my
TV
childhood, bro.
A family of 8. You were a family
Yeah,
of 8.
Not a family of 8, but just a family of absolute white trash with no shame.
Yeah, and
Shameless,
shows
if
are
you will.
supposed
Yes.
to push extremities.
I know.
you know?
It is.
I mean,
It
it's
is over the
gotta-
top. I don't know.
See, my thing
It
is
is
this.
over the top, though. You're right.
So you're basically bringing up Shameless as
Well,
like,
what I'm
hey,
saying-
everyone's so used to it, so it's not bad.
Well, no,
Let me
no.
bring up a
I'm
real
saying
point
they
of
aren't
view
feeling
from a
tortured.
traumatic, abusive
yeah.
home. When I was going through my childhood, where my dad talked about how demons were after him because meth is a hell of a drug, that was all normal to us. But the state came in and said this isn't good, healthy, or normal in any way.
But in their
so
world-
that argument's
and
gone.
In their world, the state doesn't come in to say anything because
That's
the state
Exactly.
is
That's
crazy
why it's
too.
worse.
Yeah, that's what I have issue with is because the show purports itself to be like very realistic.
No, we're talking about Star
we're
Wars
on
in
Star
that
Wars.
part.
No, but I'm talking
we're
about
long
he's
gone.
still
over
I know.
Shameless.
I'm still on Shameless though, because like just with your experience right there, like
Yeah.
Shameless should have lasted 2 seasons max. The state would have came in, took everybody,
But
and it's
William,
over.
tell
You know
me,
what I mean?
tell me, William H Macy is not hilarious and beautiful as this drunk dude.
No,
I mean,
I've
he's
known
never
a
been
lot
that.
of shitty people like that, and they don't act like that. They're way more erratic.
No. I mean,
And less caring.
I will tell you right now, my grandma spent her whole life as an alcoholic, and I can compare.
Yeah, but he's not
moments
just
to
an
Frank.
alcoholic.
I just want to go ahead and just
He's
kind
not
of.
just an
I wanna
alcoholic.
Neither
cut
was
in
my
here.
grandma.
He smokes crack.
Neither
and-
did my grandma. Yeah, my grandma did all that stuff too, and she was a lot like Frank. Lived on the streets a lot of the time. Didn't take care of her kids. Her kids take care of her. There are people like that.
I just want to jump
Yeah.
in here real quick and just
But
kind of
it's over the
appreciate.
top. It's way over the top.
I just want to appreciate the fact that me and Nick are coming from a place of like, no man, I promise that
my
these terrible
family's
people
fucked
are this bad. Like,
No, it really happened.
Yeah. No, you bring up a great point though. That the show's point is to push on the extremities of people's emotions.
Yeah.
And it does a really good job. It's just like Fault in Our Stars.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever see that? It's like 2 kids who have cancer fall in love and they're both gonna die.
But see,
It's like,
I'm
come on.
gonna get a
You know,
lot of-
like you just want cry.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this next statement. A lot. But somebody being adjacent to this world that the show portrays, I don't think Shameless is as bad as Breaking Bad is.
okay, we're gonna get
To
into
me,
that in a
Breaking
second.
Bad is one of the most biggest pieces of garbage I've ever seen.
So
Well,
is
the
this
show's
is this
not
your is
supposed
this
to be-
wait? You're saying that Breaking Bad's
It's a
a
bad
bad
show?
show?
Yeah, just
or
in
he's
general.
a bad
No.
person.
Get out! Get out
It's
right
a,
now!
It's a bad show in that all it really does is it just makes meth use look fun.
I see what you're saying.
For
Okay.
almost the
Okay.
entire, almost all the seasons.
So
And I don't have this data, but I would venture to guess that meth use went up from the time the show started airing to now.
yeah,
Has
Well,
been a quicker increase in meth
but
use.
but we can always argue that is what the people wanted, so they were given it. The people were already wanting that.
No, I don't know.
You
As
know?
being somebody who has tried the drug before and many drugs, I think that the way that
I don't mean people
the
wanted the
world
drugs.
that's introduced to you and what you know about it is how whether or not you'll use it. And I think it normalized meth use more than people talked about. And
I can
think
understand-
that-
I can
think
understand
that
that.
the
Of
show
course it
should have
did.
had some more safeguards and maybe like a little bit more like if you have a meth problem, please call this number.
Well, you know
what I mean?
I would have to
There's-
say though, I mean, if you watch that show and you see all the stuff they're doing and you think it's glorifying it whatsoever, it's totally not. I mean, Jesse's life is hell.
I know
through
it's
all of
hell,
that,
but I'm just saying
but-
it takes a long time
but-
for it to really blow
Right.
up.
And
They spend a lot of time having a lot of money,
Well, like the
doing a lot of like,
the
interesting
first
things.
episode,
Yeah, you're
like
right. They
Walter
do, yeah.
White has to kill like a guy that he met at like a store years ago and is all broken up about it. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
But what, like, here's the question that I'll ask you though, right? And like,
But the audience, the
Yeah.
problem is with the way that they do the story.
here's the question that I'll ask you though, right? And
But the audience the entire time is they play.
but he was trying to make he was trying to make you hate Walter though.
Well, yeah,
I know,
yeah.
But at the same time, they put audience qualities in him, so you don't
no, that's-
fully hate
Yeah,
him.
yeah. That's because, see, I watched this interview where Peter Gilligan's
Right.
talking about this.
Well,
He
yeah, yeah.
said,
But at the
Vince
same
Gilligan,
time, they're-
Peter, sorry. But he's talking about how he wants to, see, I watched this. Wanted to see how far he
Well,
could
yeah,
get
yeah.
the
But
good
at the
guy,
same
and
time,
you
they
still
put
root for
redeeming
him.
quality.
You know, which is a really cool way to write.
Yeah,
See, I
it's
watched
good
this.
concept.
I think that's
Well,
awesome.
yeah, yeah. But at the same time, they put redeeming qualities.
That's because, see, I watched this.
Yeah, right.
Well, yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, they put
Well, my
Cookie jar.
thing is this though.
It's
my
the cookie jar.
My
Who's got their
thing-
hands in the cookie jar?
my question
All of
is
us
this
do,
though.
yeah, so.
Is were you like when you started your
Because,
drug journey
see, I watched
that
this-
you brought up?
Right.
Were you
yeah,
sitting
yeah.
on a couch one day watching a show and just like,
That's because
I need a dry mouth
see, I
now,
watched this-
like, like,
Well, yeah, yeah.
That's
because see, I watched this. Right.
and I hope
Well,
that's
yeah,
not
yeah.
offensive, by the
At the
way.
same time, they put redeeming quality.
That's because see, I
Well,
watched
I
this-
think
yes,
I think it's interesting.
Well, yeah,
though,
yeah.
to-
See that? Yeah.
Holy shit! Like redeeming quality.
Because see, I watched this. Right. Well, yeah, yeah.
But at the
Right.
same time, they put redeeming quality.
Yes. Yes. See, I watched this.
Okay.
Right.
Problem is that
Well, yeah,
I know,
yeah.
But at the same time, they put redeeming quality. Doesn't from a place like
Because see, I watched this. Right.
the movie.
Well, yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, they put redeeming quality. That's
Because see, I watched this. Right. Well, yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, they put redeeming quality. And that moment.
Because see, I watched this. Right.
Yeah,
Well,
because
yeah,
I mean
yeah.
it's a TV show. I can
Because see, I watched.
I
This,
can understand
Right.
where you're coming from.
Well, yeah,
on
yeah.
that. Oh, like you and me can disagree on it, obviously, but like I can get where you're coming from.
see, I
Like,
watched
get
your
that.
point. Right.
Technical
Well, yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, they put redeeming quality.
That's because see, I watched this. Right. Well, yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, they put redeeming quality. The same way
That's
that
because see, I watched this. Right.
season.
Well, yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, they put redeeming quality.
That's because see, I watched.
you
this. Right. Well, yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, they
See, and
put
yes,
redeeming
okay. That's because see, I watched this. Right.
I got to bring an
Well,
argument
yeah,
at
yeah.
you for this.
quality.
Okay, so I understand
Because
that you
see, I
being a
watched this.
father,
Right.
you think about
Well,
what
yeah,
you're
yeah.
going to
But
see.
at the same time,
But also as a
they put
father,
redeeming quality.
you should be helping them
because,
with their
see, I watched
perceptions
this-
of what they see,
right.
right?
Well,
Of
yeah,
course.
But at the
So
same time,
we should
they put
never be
redeeming
blaming an
quality.
artist for what he
because,
puts into the world
see, I
and
watched
how it
this-
affects your
right.
kids because
Well,
you
yeah, yeah.
But at the
determine
same
how
time,
your kids get affected by things, right?
So you're
Unless
what I mean?
the artist is
You
the
know what I'm
author
saying?
of the book The Turner
It's not-
Diaries,
it's
we can
Breaking Bad.
condemn that.
Wait, hold
It's-
on. Are we forgetting what happened with Cuties and Netflix? Are you familiar with that?
Oh,
No.
no,
So-
I've tried to repress
Cuties is
that
a South
for a long
African
time.
based movie.
Oh, never
about-
mind. Okay, I
about
thought this
these-
was something
these like
else.
13-year-old girls who like are like in pageants and dance and twerk and become very
Nope,
sexualized.
no, this was what I was thinking
But
of.
the
Yeah.
the filmmaker, instead of using like 18-plus-year-olds to act, he used actual
Yep.
13-year-olds. And so the movie is heavily sexualizing them, zooming in on their crotch, doing a lot of things that would still be disgusting if it was an 18-year-old that was playing a 13-year-old, but at least that 13-year-old could consent, or that 18-year-old could consent to those things. Where, in my mind, in a lot of people's minds, if you're underage, regardless if your parents say you can do it or not, like you can't consent to sexualize acts, even acting them out in a movie. You know what I mean? If you're underage.
Of course.
I think that's an
So-
agreeable topic for all
So
of us.
that's where
and
art-
hopefully
that's
for
where
you guys
art-
watching this
that's
as
where
well.
art and responsibility kind of cross. Because I know
Right.
what you're saying. All
Well, yeah,
art is
yeah.
supposed to provoke, you know, and
I'm not saying that's art. I'm,
Yeah,
I'm,
and at
I'm
least-
saying
at least-
you choose what you let
at
your
least
kids see,
in
right?
in Euphoria, they do use over 18 actors, so it's not
Yeah.
as bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not as bad as Cuties. I will say that.
Yeah, I never heard of Cuties. That sounds terrible.
Yeah, and
but-
Netflix. It was a Netflix show, and they like had it on for like longer than they should have.
So like what I'm just getting at, like there's so much chaos going on in like Tatooine, like not just Tatooine alone. It's the whole entire galaxy, to where it's just like, number one, it's a normal reaction for them to just be like, cool, Billy got his arm cut off. That's fine.
Yeah.
And then like aside from that too, right? Like there's other shitholes all throughout in the galaxy, right? Like we're
but we're just talking the original 3 timeline right now.
That is so not true. We're talking about the whole entire universe of Star Wars. But if we want to talk about the eras, I can even do that.
Yeah, because when Anakin was a child, we don't know that everyone's not shitty.
That's true.
But most of the people that he encountered, his slave keeper, even the people who raced with him were dirty cheaters.
That's one planet, and there wasn't an empire.
And then he joined the Jedi, who pretty much just enslaved him as well, and pretty much did everything they could to turn him to the Sith.
There is still slaves today, though.
Yes, there is, and actually,
how
today I've read an article saying that like,
is it on the rise?
Yeah, no, like we live in a world with the most slavery than any time before. I could be wrong, but I remember reading that.
Probably by numbers, but not by percentage.
Right.
Yeah.
Population-wise, that makes perfect sense.
Well, especially we've got the biggest population.
Yeah,
now too,
yeah. We can go on a rant about percentage versus.
I also don't know
anyways,
if the best idea is for 3 white guys to start talking about slavery, because usually when that happens, there's a lot of yee-haws that follow and a bad time that comes.
What I'm making out though is that Star Wars pre like Anakin's life doesn't sound any much worse than.
But it does, because here's the thing,
us
right?
today
Like, if we're talking about pre-universe, if you rewatch like the prequels, there is like an overwhelming amount of people that just look like they're living in squalor. We see like the leaders having like a good life, but then when you actually go down to like Coruscant level, like the bottom of the planet, right? Like people are just filthy.
When do we
looking.
see it? When do
we see it in Attack of the Clones? So it is after Anakin's birth.
So wait, so are we just talking about the lives for people? Or
Yeah,
about,
yeah,
or
like,
all
just
the,
like, so-
well,
so
no,
my-
but like there's a lot of different beings, right? You got
The
the
average-
Ewoks, you got the like,
So yeah, I'm talking about the average. Like, let's say we just grabbed you and threw you out into the Star Wars universe, just strapped like 20 credits onto you and said, "Best of luck."
if I was with the Ewoks and they liked me, that might be cool.
Okay,
But
I'm
they don't seem
I'm
like they like a lot
super
of
happy that you bring up the Ewoks, because there is a scene where we full blown see at the end of.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Aren't
like
they're
they're
pretty
like
bad.
parading like a
Yeah.
stormtrooper's body around.
You're right, I do remember.
Well,
but it's a stormtrooper.
Well, hold on. They also were going to kill Luke and Leia
And Han, yeah.
until
until they.
C-3PO was like, "I'm your king."
No, not king. He pretended to be a god, which, hey,
yeah.
that's blasphemous. The
Yeah.
Catholic Church isn't going to look good on that.
Yeah,
Is that like against like the Force code, since that's like a religion?
I don't know.
No, but like here's the thing
Force
though too.
is Jesus.
It's
Yeah.
not just basically people living in squalor, right? Like let's go to the original movies, the one from like the 70s into the 80s, right? Like when it's the Empire and the Rebels. Now we're living in a time of great instability. There's terrorist attacks that are happening left and right, where you have these people who come into this Death Star, blow it up, and I get that it's the Empire and that's a bad thing, and that was a thing that was blowing up planets, but like let's be honest, that is a huge construct that was created. There's going to be a bunch of innocent contractors aboard. There's janitors on there that had families that are just dead because the rebellion just got uppity. But then also too, there's they have a machine that can blow planets up. And then in the sequels, they look at that idea and they're like, you know what? They sit down with each other and they're like, we didn't go too far with that. We should go further into that. We should just lean harder into that. And then they create a Death Star that can kill like multiple planets at once. They're like, hey, can we make a Death Star that has buckshot? Great, let's do that. And then once again, another terrorist
Which makes
attack.
no
they blow
sense
that
because
up.
it's like planets are not
Janitors.
usually that close together. So it's like such a
like it's
weird
so
thing.
so far away, but like we see in that shot, it looks like they're just like miles away from each other.
I know, and that's
you could be
yeah.
on Mars waving over to Venus. Like,
I mean,
hey,
it's
John.
kind of hard to argue against
I
Star
don't know
Wars.
why I never thought about that.
It's kind of hard to argue against Star Wars, considering that it's like we're talking about whole galaxies. You know what I mean?
Well, of course, yeah.
Can
We're
we
talking about
consider?
whole
Can we
galaxies
condense
in
the whole
war.
galaxy
Yeah.
down into like planets for other things?
Or
I think they
just- I'll-
should.
I'll do like what? Like how about this? We can condense it down into one era.
No.
Does that sound good?
That's okay. But what I'm I'm saying is like for other things that me or Nick might pick is that
But
you know, if we're just talking about the Earth, you know,
But okay.
a world
like,
that's just
let's look at it this way though.
centered around
Because
the Earth.
when we're talking about a galactic situation, I get where you're basically saying like, hey, that's like way too huge and like won't compare to ours. But like in this universe, like the galactic situation is pretty much kind of to a level of a country where like, you know, they're traveling to planets so often and so easily.
Yeah,
that
it's
just like
it's not
traveling
even
to,
sci-fi.
Like, you know,
It's
from like
fantasy.
US to France.
more
So
fantasy.
subtract the galactic part from it, and we'll say it like if the whole Star Wars universe was one planet that you were living on.
Yeah, I
it
think
would-
we're
it
all
would
in
suck.
agreement.
It would freaking suck.
We're all in agreement.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
Most
That
of it
was
was
all
like
Earth.
okay, so
Yeah.
long story short, we've got terrorist attacks, we've got genocide, we have slavery. We should I keep going? Like we've got
but you haven't
just
said
poverty.
You haven't said anything that the U.S. today or the world that we live in right now hasn't done.
No, here's the thing. It's similar, and that's what happens when you create art. You create art from stuff that you know. But
So-
with Star Wars,
fine,
it's
then-
taken that to steroid level. It's ramped it up to 11.
I don't know. I feel like proportionately, the U.S. has done the same thing to the Japanese.
Proportion. Wait, in which part? Like as
When
far-
we
like,
nuke them is the same as blowing.
It's like
We
but
because
here's
if you
the thing,
consider
though.
because here this is how I consider Star Wars is all the planets that people go to are like cities,
or countries, yeah, something like that.
more like cities.
Okay.
To me.
Yeah.
But I guess it could be countries, and we
has more of a city
eradicated an
feel.
entire city
Here's
with a nuclear weapon, and then we decided, you know what, that wasn't enough, and so what?
One
5 days later, 3 days later, we dropped another one.
so here's my thing though. As
And
far
does
as
anyone
far as
even
the
talk
atom-
about Nagasaki, or does Hiroshima get all the praise?
So here I'm
You know what I mean? People wrap it up into
you
one.
gotta understand, I'm a history buff, so this is like why it's just like wanting to like jump out. And,
No,
like,
no,
just
go
off
ahead.
on, like,
Go
a
ahead.
4
Set
hour
me
long
straight.
rant.
Because like I've always talked about how if you whittle down Star Wars, like the U.S. is definitely the empire.
So here's the thing that I want to go ahead and go off on.
Not
First of all,
Hitler's regime.
I like that you bring up the atom bomb for the fact that I don't care if this is an unpopular opinion, but like there was a bunch of civilians that were completely wasted from the atom bomb, and no one's ever brought the United States to accountability because of the fact that we were on the right side of history. Now the Japanese did terrible war crimes, and I'm not trying to excuse that,
Yeah.
but like that was absolutely something terrible that the U.S. did. We killed families of innocent people, and it was
Yeah.
the same thing with Dresden over in Europe.
yeah, I would love
Now-
to know the children figures.
Now, the
how
thing-
many
the
children
thing
did
that
the
I
U.S.
wanna go ahead
vaporize?
and clarify before this is that you can literally get on a plane right now and go to Hiroshima or Nagasaki. You can't do that to Alderaan or any of the other planets that literally exploded and have nothing is left. They vaporized into thin air. Like there wasn't even shrapnel of like asteroids flying around. It's just gone.
I think we have to whittle this down to the non-real universes.
Yeah, no.
Because if
that's
we
what it-
include our
it's-
universe,
that's what I'm saying. It's a fictional.
Because if we
universe.
include
That's
our
why we're talking
universe,
about Star
then
Wars.
ours is way worse than anyone.
So
Because
once
we
again,
actually killed people.
once again, long
Hundreds
story
of thousands.
short, we have genocide on a massive level because it's a whole planet.
Yeah.
Genocide, intense poverty, slavery, and then galactic instability, whether it comes from multiple wars, regime changes, and
rebellions.
then terrorist attacks, and once again, should I keep going?
Yeah, I think that wraps
I feel
up
like
the
I've
Star
covered
Wars.
it. Yeah.
As we wrap it up, I think I've discovered that the Death Star is just a metaphor for nukes.
Yeah.
You know?
Metaphor.
Nukes are planet killers.
But once again, this is a fictional world where that Death Star is not a metaphor. It's a very real thing in this fictional universe
Yeah.
that kills a whole entire planet.
Were the Greeks really talking about Cyclopses?
No, Nick, Lefty, I feel like you're kind of getting off track here. We're talking about worst fictional universes to live in, and in this fictional universe, the reality that they've set us is that this Death Star is a very real and very terrifying place.
Yeah.
With a very odd design flaw in the fact that there's a giant hole that you can shoot something in, and then it blows things up.
It could be a double
Ventilation.
entendre.
Yeah.
It needed ventilation. It probably gets pretty hot if it can blow up a whole planet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like, look up right there. That's not a hole, it's a slit where you can do ventilation, and I feel like the Death Star could have done that where a torpedo didn't go through.
Yeah, but think about how big the Death Star was. It was the size of the
By
moon.
God, you're right.
It's the size of the moon, so you can't have a fucking register the size of a 1 inch hole openings.
You can't put it everywhere, man.
They already talked about how hard the shot would be. It's like damn near impossible. Luke had to use the Force to guide them in.
Right.
Here, okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to go off. I don't want to go completely off track.
I know.
Here, but let.
They also needed
if
a way
anyone
to
can
defeat
answer this in the comment section, we can, as far as having that hole, the ventilation part, right? We can say that's a good point, right? Like, okay, hey, it needed a big hole because it's the size of the moon. But why, in God's name, did it need the trench for a perfectly sized aircraft to come in and shoot the thing?
Well, it's not going to be perfectly.
It's like they're asking for it. Like, hey,
it's not
going to
be perfectly smooth. That wasn't the only trench on the whole thing.
I think it was as far as well, here's the thing. It's still a trench that leads directly up to that ventilation shaft, which is the weak point of the Death Star. Like, why would they have the trench there? That's the
Maybe they
question that I'm
weren't
asking.
thinking defense. They were thinking offense.
And maybe they were just so no one's gonna try.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
way. Who
Yeah.
cares? We can half-ass some parts of this. We've been working on this for years.
All right.
we
Well,
want to get this done
Yeah.
before our funding goes.
I mean, they were using slave labor, so
sooner or later they're gonna revolt. So we need
you
to finish
think-
this up pretty
Yeah.
quick.
Do you think they had a sponsorship with Grifters Cola?
Oh, most definitely. Grifter's Cola, the only drink for the Death Star. That's not a good look. Not a good look.
That's all I got.
we need a.
He
I'm
literally
gonna.
told us that he hasn't seen Star Wars at all, and he's trying to do an
We
impression.
need to comp the Grifters Cola logo on the ventilation hatch.
Yeah. Right.
Like for sure, that's where they put their billboard.
Just pour Grifter's Cola into the ventilation shaft, because any torpedo that goes into it would just clearly melt from the Grifter's
I like
Cola.
the way the torpedoes took a 90-degree turn down in there.
Yeah, absolutely. You've never heard of heat-seeking torpedoes?
I have.
Heat-seeking
But
plasma
dude, the
torpedoes?
way that
You don't have
they
a
were like
90 degree?
lasers, they were like shoo, torpedoes still follow the arc of an airplane. You know what I mean?
I
You
like,
can't
I
just,
like
90
how it looked
degree.
Like they fell in a zero gravity area. We're going way off track. Nick,
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's.
Lefty, I believe it's your turn.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna pick movies that I love. I feel like the Tarantino universe would really suck to live in because there's never cops.
Which one?
I'm
Well,
saying
okay,
well they're
so-
all I'm saying all of his movies are a connected universe.
Definitely Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction.
Yeah,
are
Vincent
connected.
Vega is John Travolta. That's related to the dude who cuts off the ear in Reservoir Dogs. He
Stuck
does
in
something
the
to make
middle
the
with
names
you.
connect in all of them. So in a way, you could argue that they are a connected universe that he's trying.
Well,
to
no,
make.
it's not
You know
an
what I
argue.
mean?
Like
Yeah,
Quentin
yeah.
Tarantino has come out and said that these are all connected. I don't know
Right.
if every single one, because from how I remember
Then
it, Kill
you're-
Bill is like a movie in
Right.
the Quentin Tarantino universe, so
Yeah.
that's technically
God.
not
Right.
part of it.
You could say that's not in the universe, kind of. I guess, yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I mean,
there is police then because there's police in Reservoir Dogs.
Well,
That's
yeah, there's
literally.
police in it.
Kill, like,
there's
everybody.
police in it at the very end of it. My point of it is that there's
actually-
No, at the beginning.
Yeah, because remember, Mr. Orange was, spoiler alert, Mr. Orange was a cop the entire time.
Well,
And
yeah,
he got
yeah.
shot
Yeah,
at the beginning.
By the
part,
cops.
The
Yeah.
part where he gets shot by the cops at the beginning, you don't see till later on. You see him
But
shot in the back of the
chronologically,
car.
Nick.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter.
What I'm trying to
how
say
it
that you guys
comes.
aren't understanding is that all
No,
of
we're
his-
understanding
No, listen.
it perfectly.
Just listen. His movies are westerns. Westerns don't have established law within them. The movie represents an area that does not have established law within it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but
Okay.
the
I'm not saying
first
there aren't cops
second
in it.
of Reservoir
I'm not saying
Dogs
there aren't cops in it.
is they
Never
rob
said
a
that.
bank and they run away from police.
Yep.
As established police force.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
So that's the one movie that has some
it's
sort of
against
established-
So
the
his
law.
first movie
But-
breaks your movie theory.
No, it doesn't.
Well, no, okay.
At least the cops part.
No,
Let me
it doesn't
jump in. Let me
mean
jump
that there's
in
an
real quick.
established form of law just because there's cops chasing down one group of bandits. These dudes
Nick?
have been doing this for years.
Lefty?
They've been getting away with it like crazy, right?
Lefty.
So how are we saying that they're,
Why are the cops chasing them?
because they robbed a bank?
Because they broke an established law.
Yeah. I'm not arguing that.
Okay.
Yeah, and
I'm
then in
saying
Pulp
that
Fiction,
the
they
movies-
freak out because they accidentally kill somebody in the back of the car,
Yeah.
and they got to clean it up because
Of course.
they broke the law.
Dude,
Okay, hang
but
on. hang
in
on.
those times,
let's let him go.
Yeah, I think you're just explaining it.
yeah, I'm
not
not
well.
saying that there aren't
So-
cops in the movie, and
Okay.
there
So
aren't
just-
laws because there's laws in the world. Right?
So here's like what I'm trying to go ahead so we all understand. All right, we're talking about Quentin Tarantino's universe, where we can agree that like if you're actually living in the universe, that's going to be like Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood will include that too, but
Yeah,
then
you
like,
have
Jackie
to.
Brown, and then obviously we can't really do Django and Shane.
I mean, it's a lot
or,
farther away.
Yeah, or the Hateful Eight, and then Kill Bill. Both of those are just a movie that's made within that universe. Correct? That's what we're gonna do.
yeah,
Okay,
sure.
so just explain. So now we have that all cleared up. Just explain to us.
Are we counting?
how-
Are we counting True Romance?
Oh, that I forgot that technically. Okay, but that wouldn't be part of his universe because I mean, like that's not his movie. Like
He wrote it.
He
So
wrote it.
yeah, he wrote
Yeah.
it, but from my
And then sold it.
understanding,
Yeah.
from my understanding from the interview that Quentin Tarantino has talked about, where it's like this is kind of a connected universe, is it's the movies that he's like made, where he's written the story, directed it, and all that, like his full blown like I get that he wrote True Romance, and that's a fucking great
Yeah.
comment to bring up because I love that movie. Go check out True Romance. It's one of the only times that Christian Slater does some all right acting.
I think it was pretty good.
Actually,
Mr.
no,
Mr. Robot.
His later, I forgot his later stuff. He's been doing great stuff.
Yeah, he
like,
did pretty good in The
Dr.
Office.
Death
In The
or whatever.
Office too.
He was in The Office. Oh yeah, I forgot. He was in that one episode.
Yeah.
He's one of those actors that no matter how bad of a
He's like,
performance,
"Hi,
I love him.
I'm Christian
like,
Slater."
like it's one of
And
those.
today we're
going
gonna
to
be talking about Saber.
Anyway, what we're getting at. So just explain to us in those movies, right? Like Reservoir Dogs, Jackie Brown.
Yeah, why is it shitty
Once
to
Upon
live
a
in
Time
them?
in Hollywood, Pulp Fiction. Why would it be worse to live in those movies than Star Wars? You're already gonna lose, but just explain to me why.
All right. My point of it is that the movies center around times that are having outlaws as the main like cogs of these societies, right? Doesn't matter if there is established law, there are cops. Outlaws are what control these societies in his stories. So, if you're someone who comes into one of these situations, you're either dealing with a torturous dude who likes to cut ears off, you're dealing with people who rape men in the backs of their pawn shops. So you're pretty much just dealing with a world where outlaws of extreme chaos can come around any corner. And even the cops can be a part of it, because I think I remember that Zed is a cop.
He's a cop.
So that's what I was trying to say. I probably came out at it at a weird point.
It's fine.
But
That's why we're here. We're here to help. We're
when
here to help.
Tarantino talks about his movies, he says that they are westerns.
Yeah, no,
And
absolutely,
in a
and I
western,
agree with that.
The point of a western is to show that maybe there's law, but law is not in control of this society.
Okay, and
know?
that would be a good.
Yeah, that was my point.
Yeah, that's what you were going for. It was just worded a little bit
Yeah.
oddly. That's it. So here's the thing, though, is so basically from your description of it and from how I've interpreted the movies as well, it's pretty much like Detroit on steroids. But like I'll kind of explain like the flaw where Nick was coming into mind, where it kind of sounds like this is just what America does already, and once again it's just living in America, except it's kind of an exaggerated version of it. But at the same time.
Yeah.
I will ask this question: Is there genocide that's happening in these movies? Is there
there's no terrorist
Is there
attacks.
countries being blown off the map?
No.
Yeah.
But I bet the bars would be kind of similar,
Oh, to Tatooine.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember, too, we came up with this topic right before we
That
started.
is true.
So-
We were going to do a Star Wars episode, which is why I talked about Star Wars. But then he was like, yeah, I haven't really seen any of them.
Yeah.
Which is shocking. I haven't seen Harry Potter, so I can't really judge him too much on that. I should probably do that. I should probably get
Yeah,
on
they're
that.
I
pretty
had
good.
an ex who made me watch all of them. They were good.
Oh, okay. So that's not why she's your ex then. Got it.
No alcohol.
Oh, that's sad. That got really
Kim
sad.
Crawford, Sauvignon Blanc.
Not our sponsor. So my thing, like I said, I think that universe, when there's so many universes to pick from, that one's like so close to ours. And I get once
It
again
is.
too, like
It
this
seems
was-
tame, too.
Yeah, like it seems
Yeah.
tame. To
The
like,
only
you
way
know,
to really
worlds
die
exploding
is, like,
and,
get
you know,
shot.
like
Yeah.
pod racers
That's true.
happening.
He doesn't kill people any other way besides getting shot.
Samurai sword.
No, yeah,
I
no,
guess,
he definitely.
yeah.
uses
There are a
samurai
lot of
sword.
different ways people
But
die.
here's the thing:
But,
innocent people don't really die in Tarantino movies.
Dude, everyone dies in Tarantino
There are
movies.
definitely
But the innocent
deaths.
people.
There are
Name one
definitely-
innocent character who's died. Those three dudes stole the case and they got killed for it. The three guys in Pulp Fiction.
yeah.
So name me one time
my
an innocent
God.
character died in a Tarantino movie.
There's a I can't remember which one. I wanna
Even
say
in
it's
Hateful
hold
Eight,
on.
all of them
Hold
have fucked backgrounds.
It's in
very
Pulp
hateful.
Fiction.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's in Pulp Fiction where Marvin gets shot in the face.
Yeah,
he didn't
but like,
do anything, right?
Didn't Marvin like steal like?
He was part of the gang that stole the shit.
No,
Yeah.
he was the insider. He knew the gang. He was like the insider trying to help
But
the
he
other
was still
people,
in
right?
a life of crime, though.
Maybe he was forced into it.
No.
We don't know. Marvin seemed like
True.
a pretty
That's
innocent
true.
guy.
We need
right?
a prequel about Marvin.
Yeah, we need to know who Marvin.
Yeah.
But there's also I want to say there's a point where there's like a gunfight about to happen, and they go
Well,
to
and
shoot.
listen, if Marvin is living a double life where he's the informant for the
Right.
drug
He could
kingpin,
be, yeah.
he's still a bad guy.
He's still a bad guy.
He's not there
But,
by
there-
circumstance.
There's
You know
an
what I
innocent
mean?
bystander that gets shot in one of his movies, and I can't remember where it is.
What
but
movie?
I'm picturing this scene where
How
it's
can
like
I not
they're
think of
shooting.
one?
They're shooting
Because
like,
there's
at this
not.
girl,
Insane.
and
Because
it goes
Taran-
past her and it hits a dude in the street, and he falls down.
Oh.
But what movie is that?
No, that did happen.
Yeah, which one is that?
The only movie where
You know what
characters
I'm
who don't
talking about,
deserve
right?
to die is
it happens.
obviously Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because Manson. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but
right.
Manson doesn't kill them in that movie.
Yeah, but the girls do.
The girls end up dying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but they still went out there to
gotta think
kill
about that a
someone,
little,
so
though.
that's not innocent.
Yeah.
Yeah, they deserve to die.
Oh, Inglorious Bastards is the only one.
Who
Yeah,
does
a
in
bunch of
that?
people- burn
The
up in
whole
the movie
family in the beginning.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Whole family.
Oh yeah, them.
And not everyone in that movie
And
theater is a Nazi, right?
the main
wait, they
Jewish
are.
chick too.
Yeah.
The main Jewish chick at the end.
Well, she
dies.
wants to.
And then like almost all of the bastards.
Yeah.
Yeah. They go down on.
But you can
purpose.
we can
They're
we can also
soldiers,
say,
though.
yeah, they're soldiers,
They
and it's
wanted
not like
to.
they're not like civilian innocent. They are still fighting, right? So I mean, we can use
Okay,
that. But
so
still-
the only people in the entire
In Inglourious Basterds,
yeah,
that's
in the
it.
entire Quentin Tarantino universe who are innocent that die are Jewish people during the Holocaust.
The people at the bank die because the dude goes nuts on him, and they say he kills the lady in there.
Yeah, but we don't
That's
see
right.
it. But we don't
Right.
see it.
But it does
But it does
happen.
What about
It
the
is a
cop?
part
What
of the
about-
universe.
what about the
We
what about
don't
the
know
cop
if
that's
it
getting
happened.
tortured?
Yeah, and the cop gets tortured too.
What about the
It
what
is
about
a
the
part
cop
of
that's
it.
getting
happened.
tortured?
We
Yeah, and
don't-
the cop gets tortured too, and then he gets.
What about
It is a
the
part-
cop that's getting tortured?
Yeah, and the cop gets tortured too, and then he gets.
What about the cop that's getting tortured?
Yeah, and the cop gets tortured too, and then he gets.
What about the cop that's getting tortured?
Yeah, and the cop gets tortured too, and then he gets.
What about the cop that's getting tortured?
Yeah, and the cop gets tortured too.
What about the cop that's getting tortured?
Yeah, and the cop gets tortured too.
What about the cop that's getting tortured?
Yeah, and the cop gets tortured too.
What about the cop that's getting tortured?
Yeah, and the cop gets tortured too.
What about the cop that's getting tortured?
Yeah, and the cop gets tortured too.
What about the cop that's getting tortured?
Yeah, and the cop gets tortured too.
What about the cop that's getting tortured?
Yeah, and the cop gets tortured too.
What about the cop that's getting tortured?
Yeah, and the cop gets tortured too.
What about the cop that's getting tortured?
Yeah, and the cop gets tortured too.
What about the cop that's getting tortured?
Yeah, and the cop gets tortured too.
what about the cop that's getting tortured?
Yeah, and
Drop me into the bar with Kurt Russell, where he takes.
What about the cop that's getting tortured?
yeah, and
That's a Tarantino movie.
Death Proof.
So that one has a lot of innocent deaths.
What about the cop that's getting tortured?
yeah, and
They call that a part of his universe.
It's like half of it is
Yeah.
What about the
But my
Right,
well,
and he didn't make that. That was Robert.
That's
but
Robert.
he directed
No.
part of it.
What about the
The first half or the second half.
That makes so much more sense.
That's why the movie.
What about the
That's so weird.
That's such a good movie. For all
Yeah.
you Gen Zers out there, if you want to watch a great movie. What about the
Yeah. So I guess if we have to push it to just like Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, are we counting?
what about the
Because that's a movie that's within.
in the universe.
But even then, Kill Bill has like absolutely no innocence.
What about the
It's all bad people. Where's bad people? The only guy that
They
comes
kill-
close is
they
the nurse,
kill-
but he's just trying to.
what about the
Thurman's baby. They kill him.
No.
Remember?
No. She
No, the baby's.
What about the
Oh, I haven't seen it in a
number
while.
two.
I forgot
Number
about that.
two.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that. But in the first movie, you think they killed.
what about the
That's why I'm saying you can't assume.
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah,
assume
right.
deaths. It has to be confirmed kills.
Yeah, so
what about the super rapey dude, the super rapey nurse that you were just talking about?
Yeah, no. He was like.
Buck.
Yeah.
I like to fuck.
Yeah.
So my thing, just like on what you're talking about, I mean, like, you know, you bring up all these points, and I would just say that, like, because you brought up earlier with Star Wars that, you know, I don't see anything different than America's done. It really just sounds like you're just describing Chicago on steroids or something like that. Stockton, California on, you know, cranked up to earlier with Star Wars.
yeah, I mean, you could argue
Or
that
something like Stockton, California.
the extremities of things that you
Earlier
see
with
in
Star
Star
Wars.
Wars are no. Yeah, I mean, you could argue
Or something like
Mhm.
that. Stockton, yeah, but that's what I'm saying is that with Tarantino earlier with Star Wars, it's not
Yeah, I mean, you could argue
exaggerated enough.
Mhm.
So I would say Stockton, California is the worst fictional universe.
Yeah, well, of course, I didn't come into this argument.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue. I came into it with the
He's
only
just like,
thing
you know
could
what?
argue.
I love Tarantino, and I just want to talk about Tarantino.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I respect that because I want
Yeah.
to do that with Halo.
Yeah, but his universes just don't seem that
Yeah, I mean, you could
that
argue.
wild. They seem very close to reality.
They're wild, but they're earlier with Star Wars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue.
Yeah, it's a little elevated with the amount of like shooting violence and like gun shootouts that happen
Yeah, I
in
mean,
them.
you could argue.
Yeah, But it's a it's little like-
Mm-hmm.
elevated. I mean, max any time besides like a Kill Bill, maybe only
Yeah, I
100
mean, you could
people. Are
argue.
yeah, it's a little elevated.
Or 88 dudes with a samurai.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I mean. 100 or less. Yeah, it's a little elevated.
It does seem in Pulp Fiction like. Yeah, I mean, you could argue.
Yeah, it's a little elevated.
That are the main parts of that society are. Yeah, I mean, you could argue.
Yeah, it's a little elevated. Well, the story focuses on crime people, but you see an entire diner filled with people, and only 4 characters focuses on crime people.
Yeah, but to win this. But you know what? Anytime that we get a chance
Focuses
to
on crime people.
Tarantino's work is a win button. So you know what?
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Anytime that we get a chance
focuses on crime. So the left. Yeah, it's all right. We all only had an hour.
Anytime that we get a chance
Focuses on crime people.
Yeah, Halo episode, but then anytime that we get a chance
Focuses on crime people.
yeah,
Yeah. Somebody named Nick.
in Star Wars. Anytime that we get a chance
Focuses on crime people.
yeah,
Yeah.
all tells me this by the way. Anytime that we get a chance
Focuses on crime people.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know. Anytime that we get a chance
Focuses on crime people. Yeah. Well, you could have watched one. You could have watched one. Focuses on crime people. It's all good. Don't worry. Next time we won't text you. It's okay. I'm just kidding. Focuses on crime. All right. So it's all good.
Captain Kirk, right?
anytime that we get a chance
Focuses on crime people. It's all good. Yes, I don't know.
I know.
He knows nothing about Star Trek either. It's even funnier. It's all good.
Trying to provoke a rise. Anytime that we get a chance
Focuses on crime people. It's all good.
appreciate this. Anytime that we get a chance
Focuses on crime people. It's all good. Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna give Star Wars a run for the money. It's all good. And I'm gonna have to say the MCU. So I'm gonna give Star Wars would be the. It's all good. The most chaotic universe. So I'm gonna give Star Wars as a normal person. It's all good. Yeah, and I mean just the whole Thanos thing. Regardless, of people I'm gonna give Star focuses on. I mean everyone who everyone who didn't die. Knows that everyone was dead. I'm gonna give Star focuses on crime. It's all good. And then they came back. So regardless of them coming back, I'm gonna give Star focuses on crime. It's all good.
Argue though that
So I'm gonna give Star focuses on crime. It's all good. Yeah, no, it would be very. So I'm gonna give Star focuses on crime. I think that it's all good. The amount of psychological turmoil would. So I'm gonna give Star focuses on crime. Certain. It's all good. People's planets. Getting blown up. So I'm gonna give there's many other people who don't care about those planets.
here's the difference.
Because there is slavery. There is slavery in the MCU. Just like there's terrorist attacks. I'm gonna give focuses on crime, and there's planets getting blown up in the MCU.
Gory, innocent deaths.
So I'm gonna give focuses on crime. It's all good. No. There's no planets. No. Just no. So I don't know. No. There's just
In Star Wars.
yeah. So I'm gonna give focuses on crime. No. There's yeah.
They then did it.
So I'm gonna give focuses on crime. No. There's just
When Anakin and Obi-Wan are.
so I'm gonna give focuses on crime. No. There's just
And like.
so I'm gonna give focuses on crime. No. There's just
Lake and like burn alive.
so I'm gonna give focuses on crime. Yeah. No. There's just
Lake and like. I don't think.
so I'm gonna give focuses on crime. No. There's just yeah, but what is going? So I'm gonna give focuses on crime. No. There's just so I'm gonna give focuses on crime, and I won't even get into no. They're killing trillions. So I'm gonna give focuses not theoretically. On crime. It literally happened. No. Because you haven't seen it doesn't mean it didn't happen. So I'm gonna give focuses on crime people. No. They're just yes. So sorry about the infinite other versions of you that is dead. No, they exist. We go into those in Loki. We go into those universes. No. And so then he's just killing all those people. So I'm gonna give focuses on crime people. No. Just yes. So what I'm saying is that because that they go to those other branches, just yes, and see. So I'm gonna give focuses on crime people. No. They're just yes. Do you understand? Like if I show them, no, I know. Well, I'll still vote for you because I can't vote for myself. I'm gonna give focuses on crime people. No, they're just yes. So I'm gonna give focuses on crime people. Just yes. So I'm gonna give focuses on crime people. Just yes. So I'm gonna give focuses on crime people. Yeah, and they all end up yes. Planetless. So I'm gonna give focuses on crime at the end of time. Just yes. So I'm gonna give focuses on crime people. Just yes. So I'm gonna give focuses on crime people. Just yes. Oh, I'm gonna give focuses on crime people. Just yes. So I'm gonna give focuses on crime people. Just yes. So I'm gonna give focuses on crime people. Just yes. So I'm gonna give focuses on crime people. Just yes. So I'm gonna give focuses on crime people. Those were so bad. Just yes. Yeah. So I'm gonna give focuses on crime people. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So I'm gonna give focuses on crime people. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So I'm gonna give focuses on crime people. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So I'm gonna give focuses on crime people. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Well, anyway. So I'm regardless if you think that Kang is killing hundreds of billions of people. Yes. Yeah. So I'm gonna give focuses on crime people. Yeah. Yes. So I'm gonna give focuses on crime people. Yeah. Yes. But what I'm saying is, so I'm gonna give focuses on the other Lokis because their universes have been exterminated. Yes. And they all know I'm gonna give focuses on crime people. Yeah. Yes. So there are. So I'm gonna give focuses on crime people. A copy paste. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yes. It's not. I'm gonna give focuses on crime people. In the 6 yeah. It's 6 different books. So I'm gonna give focuses on crime people. Yeah. Yes. So I'm gonna give focuses on crime people. Yeah. Yes. But that's. So I'm gonna give yes. So I'm gonna give you learn that Kang is doing this because he's killing off all the yes. So I'm gonna give his own universe that he sees fit. Yes. So I'm gonna give yeah. But he's basically playing God. Yes. So I'm gonna give yeah. But he's basically playing yes. Anyway. So I'm gonna give I think we need to get to the. We've gone crazy. I think there's probably a lot of people that are mad at us. I'm gonna give
Tell me the year that she wrote, and tell me when MC.
but he's basically playing yes. So I'm gonna give
Tell me the year.
it's like the 20s. But he's basically playing yes. So I'm gonna give
Tell me the year.
but he's basically playing yes. So I'm gonna give
Tell me the year.
but is it a joke? Yes. Okay. So I'm gonna give
I got it for a second.
yeah. Is it a joke? Yes. So I'm gonna give. I was like, J.K. Rowling. Is it a joke? By the way, yes. We're accepting of all people here at this podcast. We don't condone. Is it a joke? Rowling's. We're accepting. I'm gonna give. We are accepting of all people. Is it a joke? By the way, we're accepting. I'm gonna give.
Tell me the year.
Yeah. Is it a joke? By the way, we're accepting. I'm gonna give.
Tell me the year.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it a joke? By the way, we're accepting. I'm gonna give.
Tell me the year.
Yeah. Is it a joke? By the way, we're accepting. I'm gonna give.
Tell me the year.
Yeah. Is it a joke? By the way, we're accepting. I'm gonna give. The Hobbit was written in like the 20s. Yeah. Is it a joke? By the way, we're accepting. I'm gonna give. Universe was already thought out. Yeah. Is it a joke? By the way, we're accepting. Means that the whole universe.
Tell me the year.
Yeah. Is it a joke? By the way, we're accepting. Means that the whole universe.
Tell me the year.
Yeah. Is it a joke? Means that the whole universe.
Tell me the year.
Yeah. Is it a joke? Means that the whole universe.
Tell me the year.
Yeah. Yeah. Tolkien. Is it a joke?
Tell me the year.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it a joke?
Tell me the year.
Yeah. Is it a joke?
Tell me the year.
Yeah. Is it a joke?
Tell me the year.
Yeah. Is it a joke?
Tell me the year.
Yeah. Is it a joke?
Tell me the year.
Yeah. 37. Is it a joke? The Hobbit is 1937.
Oh, okay. Tell me the year.
Yeah. Is it a joke?
Tell me the year.
Yeah.
Is it a joke?
Tell me the year.
Yeah.
2 years.
Is it a joke? So, anyways, okay, but let's get to the vote. But first,
Is it a joke?
word from our sponsor?
Tell me the year.
Yeah.
Is it a joke?
Well, that's the second time we said that one. Yeah.
Is it a joke?
All right, so let's get to the voting now. Word from our sponsor?
Tell me the year.
Yeah.
Is it a joke?
Tell me the year.
Yeah.
Is it a joke?
All right.
Tell me the year.
Let's get to the voting now, but first,
Is it a joke?
word from our sponsor?
Just tell me the year.
Is it a joke?
Tell me the year.
Well, we drink
Is it a joke?
We drink it, so
Tell me the year.
Is it a joke?
Tell me the year.
Is it a joke?
yeah. It always works.
Tell me the year.
Is it a
It
joke?
always worked with my grandpa when he would motivate me that way. So
Tell me the year.
Is it a joke?
yeah. I'll vote first because I want it to be interesting. I've been last every other.
Is it a
time.
joke?
Tell me the year.
Is it a joke?
And then I think Alec should go, and we'll put it last on Nick.
Tell me the year.
We already know.
Is it
Yeah,
a joke?
and like I'm definitely gonna go Star Wars for sure
Tell me the year.
because I can't vote for myself, or I would.
Is it a joke?
And then
Tell me the year.
Is it a joke?
and then yeah, whatever he thought. I mean, it's not like this means anything.
Is it a joke?
And then, I mean, people are gonna argue with us nonstop.
Tell me the year.
Yeah. Make sure you
Is
put
it
your
a
votes
joke?
too. I would love to like tally that. We should definitely have polls.
Is it a joke?
And then yeah. And maybe we'll have a recap at the end of the year and see like what the audience thought.
Is it a
Audience
joke?
choice. The Audience Choice Awards.
Alright, so
Is it a joke?
And then
I think you both brought up some valid points.
Choice Awards.
Is it a joke?
Finally.
I finally won something on my podcast.
Choice Awards. Yeah, one of three.
I think the reason why
Is it a joke?
And then
the depths that are shown.
Choice Awards.
I think the reason
Yeah.
Is it a joke?
And then, yeah, I mean, I guess it is pretty detached. A swipe of the finger, trillions of people at the swipe of
Is
the
it a
finger,
joke?
and then is a lot harder to comprehend.
Right, it doesn't
Choice Awards. Then like maybe millions of people.
Is it a joke?
And then Choice Awards.
I think the reason why
Is it a joke?
And then
Personally shocked you.
yeah, Choice Awards.
I think the reason why
Is it a joke?
And then
Personally shocked you.
Choice Awards.
I think the reason why
Is it a joke?
And then
it's not like there's an extreme violence
yeah,
in the MCU.
Choice Awards. Not really though.
Yeah, not as much.
Is it a joke?
And then
Personally shocked you. Totally fine with
Choice Awards.
I think the reason
Yeah.
why
I mean,
Is
if
it
it
a
was
joke?
for
And
if it was for extreme violence, I should have Choice gone like Awards. the Rambo movie.
that's the reason
Because that is way
Is it a
worse
joke?
than any that is Star Wars. The entire all the movies Awards. is just Anakin's
I think the reason
killing of
why-
children.
Is it a
That's-
joke?
And then all Rambo's.
next week's episode.
Choice Awards.
I think the reason why
Is it a joke?
And then
I think the reason why
Is it a joke?
and then
Personally shocked you.
tell me the year. I think the reason why
Is it a joke?
and then
You could have. You holy shit, Tarentino. It's
yeah, you chose maybe.
Is it a joke?
And then we have to say We have to say worst decision. We have to have an award on worst decision.
Is it a joke?
That's gotta be one of the worst decisions.
Hey, that's not the weird.
No, but I mean in terms of what our criteria was. You know what I mean?
Is it a joke?
Just anything. Just anything.
Is it a joke?
I think the reason why.
Is it a joke?
Family Guy would have been a more chaotic choice.
Yeah.
Is it a joke?
Especially because that slippery oily man.
SpongeBob would have been
The reason why.
Is it a joke?
a more chaotic.
I think the reason why.
Well then,
Is it a
watch
joke?
popular things. Please have seen Star Wars.
I think the reason why.
Is it a joke?
I just mean like,
I think the reason why.
Is it a joke?
well, no, there is people who haven't, but they wear it as like
I
a
think the reason
badge.
why.
Is it a joke?
Especially when there are people that are older. When there are people that are older than me,
Is it a joke?
I've never seen it. I'm like, shut up. Well, no, there is people. Your parents put that shit on at some point. Shut up.
Is it a joke?
I've never seen it. I'm like, shut up. Well, no, there is people.
I think the reason why.
Is it a joke?
I've never seen it. I'm like, shut up. Well, no, there is people.
I think the reason why.
Is it a joke?
I've never seen it. I'm like, shut up. Well, no, there is people.
I think the reason why.
Is it a joke?
Too far. I'm like, shut up. Well, no, there is people.
I think the reason why.
Is it a joke?
Dude, you want all the smoke. You want all the smoke. What is wrong with you?
I think the reason why.
I am so glad I don't control. Well, no, there is people.
I think the reason why.
Is it a joke?
I've never seen it. I'm like, I'm just saying that's crazy. They're gonna come for you. They're gonna come for you.
Is it a joke?
I've never seen it. I'm like, shut up. Well, no, there is people.
I think the reason why.
Is it a joke?
I've never seen it. I'm like, shut up. Well, no, there is people. Well, it was definitely a robbery because obviously the MC.
Is it a joke?
I've never seen it. I'm like, shut up. Well, no, there is people. No.
Is it a joke?
I've never seen it. I'm like, shut up.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
no, there is people. I was actually very glad I didn't win. I've been
Is it a joke?
I've never seen
It
it.
was
I'm
it
like,
was getting boring.
Well, no, there is people. Especially pulling arguments
Is it a
out of
joke?
my
I've
ass too. I'm like, shut up. Well, no, there is people.
I think the reason why.
Is it a joke?
I've never seen it. I'm like, shut up. Well, no, there
Yeah.
is people. And the last two, even this one
Is
was
it a
out of
joke?
my
I've
ass. never I seen had it. no, I'm like, I hadn't thought about Well, it at no, all. there I was is I was going a different direction. I was.
Is it a joke?
I've never seen it. I'm like, shut up. Well, no, there is people.
Nice.
I was.
Is it a joke?
Oh yeah, it's bad. Well, no, there is people. Yeah, no, it's okay. I mean,
Is it a joke?
I've never seen it. I'm like, shut up. Well, no, there is people.
Direction. I was.
Is it a
Yeah,
joke?
I mean, I'm like, shut up.
I didn't
Well,
mean
no, there is
to.
people.
Direction. I was.
They just have a lot of
Is it a joke?
shitty,
I've
shitty never seen it. I'm like, shit. You know. Well, no, there is.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I don't even
They
like
do-
those.
Is it a
movies.
joke?
I
Never
have
seen it. I'm like,
never finished.
Well,
no, there is people.
They do. Is it a joke?
I just always. Well, no, there is people.
They do. Is it a joke?
I've never seen it. I'm like, shut up. Well, no, there is
Yeah.
people.
They do. Is it a joke?
I've never seen it. I'm like, shut up. Well, no, there is people.
They do.
Hey. Well, no, there is.
That's the whole point of Infinity War.
They do.
Hey. Well, no, there is people.
They do.
Hey. Well, no, there is people.
That's not true. Doesn't
They do.
Hey.
doesn't what's his name ever
Well,
go to the
no, there
bathroom?
is
He
people-
has to. Deadpool. Has
They
to.
do.
At least once.
Hey.
There's got to be a.
Well, no, there is people.
Dude, why haven't we seen
They do.
Hey.
a Doom movie?
Well, no, there is people.
They do.
Hey. Well, no, there is
Oh
people.
damn.
They do.
Hey. Well, no, there is people. There's got to be a scene where they're pissing in that movie, right? Hey.
Yeah, no, there actually is.
Well, yeah, because that was a big part of the game. Remember, you could like take a piss. Hey, dude. Oh, well, no, there is people. Dude, that's what we should. Hey. Well, no, there is people. No, I think there's enough Duke Nukem like fans if you do it for cheap enough. Hey, like green screen the whole thing. Well, no, there is people. Yeah. Hey, no. I mean for the movie. Well, no, there is people. Well, anyways, this is I mean for. We will see you guys next time. Thanks so much. You were. I mean for. Well, no, there is people. Hey, I mean for. Well, no, there is people. Let's go merch. Dope merch. Hey, I mean for. Well, no, there is people. Let's go. I mean for. Well, no, there is people. I mean for. Well, no, there is people. Yeah. I mean for. Well, no, there is people. I mean for. Well, no, there is people. Nope. I mean for. Well, no, there is people. Peace out.
And Star Wars fans,
Bye.
try not to be toxic.
Don't do math.